The best way to add color, life, and interest to a website is by adding images. The image element is an empty HTML element, meaning that it contains only attributes, no content, and no closing tag. It follows this general syntax. Before we actually make our first image element, I want you to know about a handy image placeholding website called placehold.it. Placehold.it will return an image size to your specification. It's very useful in mocking up web layouts and giving you an image placeholder to use as your image source. To make a placeholder image with a 300 pixel width and a 225 pixel height, you would simply use this URL as your image source. Let's use this source to create our first image. Let's create an image element with the source attribute set to placehold.it/300 by 225 and set the alt attribute to image placeholder. By setting this alt attribute, we're telling the browser what text should be displayed in the event that the image fails to load. Usually this is a small description of the image. Image search engines will use this attribute to index your image and make it searchable on their platform. Save and view your web page, and you should see a grayed out placeholder image with the dimensions of 300 pixels by 225 pixels. You may have noticed that the placehold.it image is an absolute URL and that you won't be able to use it if you're offline. We can call images locally just as easily. Let's create a folder in our root directory called images and put an image called logo.jpg into it. In your code, change the placehold.it URL to images/logo.jpg. This will specifically tell the image element to look for logo.jpg in the images folder of our root directory. We're using a JPEG image for this example, but the image element is not picky. You can display a variety of image types including PNG and GIF. Each file type has its pros and cons. You'll have to decide what type of image is best for your application. Save and view the results. The resulting image looks great, but it's a little big for my taste. Oftentimes, you're going to want to restrict the size of the image to fit a certain width, and in fewer occasions, a certain height. You can scale the image to a certain width or height by using the width or height attribute. Keep in mind that this will not only shrink images that are too large, but it'll also stretch images that are not large enough. Add the width attribute to the image element and set its value to 150. This number does not need units, and it's understood to be in pixels. Setting just the width or just the height will set the image to the desired size while preserving the image's aspect ratio. However, if you set both attributes and the settings do not match the image's aspect ratio, you'll encounter image stretching, so be careful when setting these attributes. Save, view, and notice that our logo image has shrunk to the width of 150 pixels while maintaining its ratio. When using the width and height attributes to shrink images, keep in mind that the full-size image is still being loaded, and it's only being scaled to 150 pixels when being displayed on the page. This means that shrinking an image in this manner will not improve your page load time. The only way to reduce the time that it takes an image to load is by making the source image smaller in file size. Another reason that you might want to set the height attribute is to prevent the page flickering effect that is seen when an image loads. Before fully loading, an image will not display. Then, once it loads, it'll push all the content below it down to make room. Add a paragraph element with random text after the image and reload your page. You'll see that the paragraph text hops down the page once the image fully loads. You can set the height attribute of the image to the height that it should render at, and this page flickering will be fixed. Images are oftentimes made clickable. Don't forget that you can wrap anchor tags around your image element and it'll turn it into a link. Let's add anchor tags and set the href attribute to the image's source. That way, when the user clicks on the image, they'll be shown the image in full resolution. This basic concept of using images as links will allow you to develop image galleries, shadow boxes, site navigation, and other interesting website features.